We're very pleased to welcome this morning the Chairwoman, President, and Vice President of the newly minted Jacqueline Cochran Discovery of Flight Museum and Education Center. I hope I got that right. And the three of them have been fixtures in the Coachella Valley aviation community for longer than I should probably say. And so I'm sure they will need no introduction from me. So I'm very pleased to introduce Peni Nelson, who's going to begin our program this morning.
Good morning. I get really close over here. I want to tell you, first of all, that yesterday Doug Holstrom brought to my office a t-shirt, and on it had all of Jackie Cochran's things that she did. I want you to take a moment to look at it. This is one woman. This isn't a group of women. It's one woman that took the time to go higher, faster, and farther. She has won more air races than anyone. Jackie Cochran is not recognized. People don't know about her. We have an airport named after her, and we still don't know who she is. People walk up to me and they go, well, who's Jackie Cochran? So it's sad, but in a way it's very good, because now I have something to do. So with this, you have to understand that Jackie lived in India. She flew her aircraft out of our thermal airport, which is now the Jackie Cochran Regional. She broke records there. She lived at what is now Indian Palms. That was her home. She had a golf course that was designed by Helen Detweiler, and it's the only golf course out here that was designed by a woman. So Jackie kind of spread it for women to do incredible things. She, you can go ahead and turn now. You know, I can't do two things at once, and so Alexander's doing that. You'd think I could. If I could fly in an airplane, I could do two things at once, but no. This is Jackie and Hap Arnold. She knew more people. The military was very large for her. She created the WASP program. And you have to understand that this is in the 30s and 40s. I hit the glass ceiling, and it was 1999. So you have to have a deep respect for a woman that can go out there and deal with men and do it in a very lovely way. Jackie was very proud of her, this is the WASP, this is when she started the WASP program, the women that flew all the airplanes over the oceans, delivered aircraft. While our men were fighting for a woman, we got to go out there and support them. And I think it's very important we got to be of support of our services. Now you can see Jackie here. Her makeup is perfect. She stopped before she went in to get her prize and touched up her makeup, put on her lipstick, and it used to really piss people off. This was the Jackie Cochran. It's the wings. She had a cosmetic company. She flew all over selling her cosmetics. So she was a very proud woman of what she looked like. She was also named the best dressed woman in America. So to do this, to do the things that she had done, to break sound barriers, to go faster, break the records of how high she flew, this woman did it in such a wonderful way of being proud of who she was. This is Jackie. This is about, I would guess her age, about my age. We don't go any further. But I mean, she went on to fly through her whole life. She was breaking records. She just didn't do it when she was young. She did it on into her life, into her 70s. She died when she was 80. She died in Indio, California, and she is buried at our cemetery here. This is Indian Palms. Jackie and her husband had many of the presidents there. Eisenhower wrote his memoirs there. Her and Eisenhower were very good friends. This is Jackie as a young girl. When she got her license, it took her 3 weeks to get her license. It took me 3 years. This is our Discovery of Flight and Education Center. This is what we're doing. But I want you to know that Jackie Cochran was not famous to anyone because she didn't die in a fiery crash. She died a nice little death at 80 in Indio, California. Her best friend, Amelia Earhart, flew around the world with a drunk person and crashed. And she became very, very popular and very memorable. And it's too bad that in this day and time, that a person that does many, many memorable things isn't noticed because they didn't do something terrible in the end. And it's time that we do something. So one day in my office, I'm sitting there just being cool. And Kim Sandman walks in, and she is a professional golfer and a lady flyer. She belongs to our flight club. So we sat there and talked for a while, and I said, God, I really want to do something to honor Jackie Cochran. I want to do something to bring young women into aviation. And I thought, well, let's add some classes. So now we have the high school. So we have young men, young women learning about aviation in all their high school years. But Kim had the idea of the education part. I was looking more into museums and honoring her. Kim said, my God, we have to learn, we have to go into high schools, we have to teach children, teach young adults about aviation and all the careers available. So that's when it was born. This was born between two women sitting, just talking about aviation. So this is a passion of mine. And it's, I've been able to talk to other people and just add this to it. What can I give back to aviation? I have had a hell of a career. I have just been able to do everything. I have flown almost every airplane there is. I am not the greatest pilot, but I'm the luckiest pilot. I have gotten to ride on top of the wing, which was ridiculous. But it's the fun you have in aviation. It's these people. I get to know most of you. This is my pleasure. This has been great for me. I appreciate it. I thank all of you for bringing aviation to where it is today. But we need to continue on. We need to honor Jackie Cochran. Our airport's named after her. She has a golf course. She has a home here. She has broken every record. She's been amazing for women and young ladies. So we need to go in and really build a school, share our knowledge. All of you need to be included in this. You need to come and teach. You need to share your experiences with our young people of the Valley. So we're very lucky to have this school. We're very lucky to be able to teach the kids. And now I'm going to introduce Alexander. He is our teacher at the high school. He is also an aviation baby. He was born into aviation. He was flying at the age of 11. He is just a great sponsor of our aviation careers, and he teaches in our high schools. We have 144 students, and he's going to tell you all the wonderful things that we are doing in the Jackie Cochran Discovery of Flight and Education Center. So here's Alexander.
Good morning, everybody. So I am Alexander. You may have seen me. I run around a lot at Landmark Aviation, where I get the opportunity to work with Peni. I work with the Jacqueline Cochran Discovery and Flight and Education Center. If you're not recognizing me from any of those places, I know we've got some aircraft owners here in the audience. My family owns APD Aviation, the detailing company. So as Penny said, I sort of grew up in aviation. It's very true. You may recognize me as that little tyke that at one point was cleaning your airplane. So, you know, I'm here. So, what we've accomplished so far, I want to let you know what we're doing with education for these kids. We've got an aviation academy that has been set up at 2 local high schools. We've got Shadow Hills High School in Indio, California, and we've got Desert Mirage High School in Thermal, California. Desert Mirage High School you guys may not know of, may not have seen, but I guarantee you have seen it. If you've ever flown into Thermal, when you're on the approach to 3-5, it's just sort of off to the southwest of the airport there, surrounded by a bunch of fields. I have the pleasure and the opportunity to teach the students at Desert Mirage High School. Both of these schools we've worked with, both Desert Sands Unified and Coachella Valley Unified, in the planning phases of their academies. We worked to get the curriculum up and running off the ground with the intent to introduce students to the aviation industry. When time came around for classes to start at Desert Mirage High School, they said, well, Alexander, you've got about 15 years in the aviation industry, even though you were about 10 when you started. Why don't you come down and teach these kids? And I said, you know, that sounds like fun. Why not? So what I've done with the help of Kim and Penny and some partners in aviation is we've developed a curriculum at Desert Mirage High School. It's a 3-year curriculum. As part of the process of recruiting students for these 2 academies, we've hosted between 350 and 400 students to field trips out at the airport. Here you can see we've got pictures from both of them. We've introduced these students to aerial law enforcement. We've introduced them to air medical services. They were introduced to aircraft detailing, charter, fixed-based operations, anything and everything that we've got down at the Jackie Cochran Regional Airport, these students have been introduced to. We really wanted to spark a bit of an interest with them. So, what are our goals? We'd like to introduce students to all aspects of aviation, whether that's general aviation, business and corporate aviation, or commercial aviation. I hate to say this to a room full of pilots, but we're not looking to churn out career pilots. If the students want to become pilots and, you know, have their private pilot's license and go up and fly on their free time, that's great. We all know there's a pilot shortage coming of career pilots, but we all know that it takes a whole lot more people to get an aircraft into the air than just a pilot. So we're looking at careers that are available here in the Valley and nationwide. We focus here on the Valley because for a majority of our students, leaving the Valley is not really an option for them. I'll talk a little more about that when we talk about the students that we serve. But like I said, we'd like to get these students involved with and interested in careers with airlines, with maintenance and repair, fixed-based operations, aircraft detailing, government careers. You know, you got to deal with the FAA guys, and unfortunately we've got to churn out some FAA guys so you can deal with them. So let's look a little bit at the curriculum for these students. In our first year, we talk about history and careers of aviation. You've got to know where you've come from to have an idea of where you're going. And so that's sort of the philosophy we took with this first year curriculum. The first semester, we're going to teach you about the history of aviation. Where did this industry come from? Then, we're going to talk to you about where you can go in aviation. We're going to introduce you to all of the careers available. This is 16 weeks that we spend talking about careers that are available to these students. In year 2, we talk about business skills for aviation. These students are going to be, after they've gone through the careers portion in that second semester of the first year, they've got some sort of interest in where they might want to go, what they might want to do. So if you've got someone that's interested in maintenance, well, we're going to teach you about starting a maintenance business. You're gonna put together a business proposal to start a maintenance business. Because not only is that gonna let you know exactly what you're going to need to do, but it also helps you with your reading, writing, and math skills. In year 3, we're gonna do a private pilot exam-based course. These students will be able to take the written exam for their private pilot's license at the end of the year. We're not churning out pilots, but we think it's important that all of the students, whether they decide to go into an aerial career or a career on the ground, knows what the people that they're going to be dealing with had to do to get where they are. It's very important to have that respect. A little bit about the students that we're serving. We are, again, based in Thermal, California. We're dealing with students in Indio, Coachella, Thermal. These students are not well-to-do, they're not well off. They really come from a background where they're not necessarily being told that this is what's available to them. For most of these students that came out on these field trips when we were doing our recruitment, coming out to the Jacqueline Cochran Regional Airport, not only was it the first time that these students saw a business jet or a single engine aircraft sitting out on the ramp, it was their first time seeing an airplane. They hadn't even been on a commercial airliner. They hadn't seen a commercial aircraft. That's the type of student that we're serving here. We want to introduce them to something that they really had no idea about. Most of my kids that I teach, and I'll do a little anecdote on this one, we've started our careers section this year with my students. And at the beginning, I said, based off of the history that we've done, can you all tell me about some careers that you might want to look into? And of course I got pilot, I got maintenance. And then I had one of my students, and he looked at me and he said, well, mister, you work at Landmark. Does Landmark have a janitor? And I said, well, yes, Landmark does have someone that come in and they do the cleaning of our facility. And he said, well, I want to know what it takes to become the janitor. And, we kind of chuckled, the class kind of chuckled, and then it sort of hit me. The background that these students come from, where they've got parents who are working out in the fields in Thermal, picking all of the crops. Those baby carrots we get in the grocery store, their parents are the ones picking those. Their parents are the janitors. They work for a cleaning company. This is what the student, of all of the careers we were going to talk about and all of the history we talked about, his first thought, because of what he's seen, is, how do I become the janitor? And I looked at him and I said, I will talk to you and let you know how you can become that janitor, but let's look at some other careers because you can do something great. You can do something bigger than the janitor. And if you decide you want to be the janitor, why not own your own cleaning business? Or get into aircraft detailing. These students need people that are going to open their eyes and open their minds to greater possibilities. That's part of the reason why we're here. We want, your monetary support would be great, but really, I would like your time. I would like you to be that mentor. I would like you to be that person that sits with one of my students and says, yes, you can do this, and I'm going to help show you how to get there. I would like you to be their inspiration, because the reality is when they go home at night from one of my classes and they say, boy, Mom, Dad, I want to be a pilot. Their parents look at them and they go, what do you mean you want to be a pilot? You can't do that. That's too expensive. That takes too much time. It's just unrealistic for them. That's what we fight on a daily basis, and that's where we need you. We need you to come in and say, yes, you can do this. This is how you're going to get there. I can show you how to get scholarships. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to need your support to help us do. Because Peni, Kim, and I, and recently elected Chris to our board, can only do so much. We only have so much time. And we need the help of others to inspire these students. Part of what we're doing with these students in their year 3, they have to do some sort of job shadowing and internship. And to give you an idea of the impact that we had, we did a little test run. It was March the 20th, the date that the tennis finals happened, and yes, the horse show ended that happens down in Thermal. Traditionally one of our busiest days down at Landmark. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna need some help. And I asked my students for volunteers to come in. We had 3 students come in, and I'll show you their picture here. They thought they were really cool, standing on the wing of this airplane. I mean, you don't see it in their faces because they gotta be cool and not show any emotion. But when we were at school the next day, I mean, this was the talk. They were the guys in those classes. But what was interesting, this student here on the far end, he's one of my worst students. He has an F in my class. He is the jokester, he doesn't do his work. What is this aviation stuff? I just got thrown in this class by the counselor because there are no other electives available at the school. After that day of shadowing our line service techs, our customer service professionals, after getting a tour of a Falcon 900 by one of our pilots who had no idea who this kid was, except for the patch on his shirt that said Desert Mirage High School Aviation Academy. He walked in that next day and the homework assignment was done. He looked at me and he said, Mister, I need to take this seriously. That was really fun. I could do something like that. And I said, yes, you can. He said, you know, I have to go register for my classes and I wasn't gonna take your year 2 class, but I think I'm gonna come back. That is what we're doing. That is why we're here. That is what we need your help to do. Because these students can do it. So, how you can help, I've said it all along. Monetary support's great, but we'd love your time. We would really love for you to give us your time. And you're not giving it to us, you're giving it to the students. You're giving it to these kids that have everyone in their life, except for their teacher, Mr. here, telling them that they can't do it, that it's not possible. You need to be the voice that says, yes, you can.
Alexander is the smart one of the group. What we really, a lot of this, I wanted you to understand that we would like to build the school at Jackie Cochran Regional Airport. That is the long term, to have a complete school there, to teach all the years in high school, and to start, as you say, the A&P early. But you have to understand that in 30 years, I have never had anyone approach me that had any experience. So what I would like to do is take the kids in the schools and teach them for the 4 years line service, customer service, the things at the airport that we do as an FBO. And that way when they get out of school, out of high school, they are a certified line service technician, a certified dispatcher, a certified flight attendant. They can be all of that when they get out of high school. But that is our goal, is to teach them now. And then when they get out of high school, we have 3 airports here right now that would hire these kids, these young adults, as line service technicians. They would have their NATA safety first. They would walk in certified, and you would have a good employee. You would have someone towing your aircraft that knew what they were doing. And they're 18 years old. Why can't we do this? Why can't we have them certified and ready, have our own job pool? And then the other thing is when they go to college, every college has an airport somewhere close. So instead of these kids going to college and going out and borrowing money and strapping themselves with something they can't pay for, they could have a very decent job in aviation while they're going to college learning aviation or something else. But this is the idea. I had to wash airplanes to get my license. I didn't have the money. Probably most of us here didn't have the money. We are going to supply jobs that when you get out of high school, you have a certification, you can go to college, you can pay for your college, and you can have jobs here in the Valley. What if you can't leave? What if your parents are here and you're responsible? You can have a very good job. FBO jobs are very good. If they weren't good, what the hell am I doing here? You know, really. So we're here to supply aviation jobs. We're here to fly. We're here to have fun. Fun. That's number one. Fun. Aviation is fun. I've had 35 years of extreme fun. So I want to have that for everyone else. I want these kids to go out and to have great careers. Go out and fly faster, higher, further. They get to be astronauts. Come on. This is the most incredible place on earth for us to do this. And all of you here have different things in aviation that you can come in and give to these kids. So that's what I'm saying now. We really have to fight hard. We have to do our job. And we have to make sure aviation goes on. Men, women, kids, all of us. It all starts when we're young. Let's keep it going. Come out on May 7th. Enjoy the day. We'll have all the kids out there. And we want you to help us.